Hello and welcome to the very first episode of ByAnnie Patchport. I'm Elisa and I'll be your host today. Annie will be joining us a little later along with some special guests. Our goal with this new series is to help you fill out your global patchport by piecing together your knowledge of all the amazing quilt shops, guilds, and events from around the world. On today's episode, we will be visiting a variety of shops and guilds to learn about how master sewists are passing on their craft onto the next generation. We'll hear about some incredible mother-daughter teams who are constantly finding ways to inspire their communities, an educational sewing curriculum developed with young sewists in mind, how Annie lets her imagination guide her design process, and an upcoming quilt show that is sure to bring visitors a sense of childlike wonder. With so much to cover, let's jump right into it. Just 30 minutes from the Big Apple, we're visiting Westfield, New Jersey for our first shop, Urban Sewciety. Not only is this shop the regional winner for New Jersey in the 2025 local quilt shop contest, but they are also home of Sewciety Kids and Studio M Squared. They built these brands from the ground up to promote education for young sewists. As many schools have taken sewing and home ec classes out of their curriculum, it's really encouraging to see a store put in the work to create a great educational sewing program for children and other beginning sewists. During the contest, we had so many parents write in to tell us about the creative spark Urban Sewciety has ignited in their children, like Colby, who shared. After moving across the country, my daughter was very homesick, and it seemed like nothing could cheer her up. Walking into Urban Sewciety was like walking into Oz for her. From the very first class, the pride, determination, and joy on her face was a turning point for us. The classes and staff at Urban Sewciety provided her with that missing piece, the piece that made her feel whole and home. It's really encouraging to hear that Urban Sewciety isn't just passing down sewing knowledge, but also the strong sense of community that so many associate with sewing. Both Sewciety Kids and Studio M Squared have many resources available for purchase if you'd like to bring a program like this to your favorite local quilt shop or guild. Speaking of a store with a great program for sewists, many of you will recognize Stacy of Old Town Quilt Shop from our April Live with Annie. Stacy talked about her monthly ByAnnie Groupies Club, a program that helps sewists practice a wide variety of ByAnnie skills and patterns. It was a really inspirational talk that gave viewers so many ideas for their next ByAnnie projects. I know my personal list of to-do patterns got a little longer after watching. In addition to that great visit that you should definitely check out, Stacy took some time to tell us about her personal experience with passing the quilting torch from generation to generation.
So about 12 years ago, well, probably about 15 years ago, my mom bought a quilt shop and she didn't really know much about retail. And that was my background, was retail. And so she had asked if I could come up here and help with the business. And so I did, but I had to learn how to quilt. I actually had to take the beginning quilting class. So that's kind of how I had started in the quilting. I had sewn a little bit before, clothes for my kids and things like that. But, the actual quilting, that was kind of, I had to learn how to do that. My mom having the business definitely helped with that. And so it's just kind of snowballed from there. And then probably about 5 years ago is when I started really getting into like bags and things like that. It's been a lot of fun. And then last year, I also introduced my granddaughter to sewing. We sewed a quilt together. She actually designed it herself and then sewed it herself and we quilted it together. So that's a lot of fun. So it's, really interesting seeing it go down through the generations. It skipped my generation. I have boys, but it's nice that, my mom's a quilter, I'm a quilter, and now my granddaughter will also be a quilter. So it's a lot of fun that way.
I've been lucky enough to be an artist, a musician, an actor, and now a sewist. And one thing I've noticed between all these different creative communities is that there's a lot of crossover. I can't think of a single creative person I've met who has only one outlet. Even in the sewing community, most sewists have dipped their toes into several different skills, whether that be bag making, quilting, apparel, embroidery, or even fiber arts. Our next shop embodies this crossover, creating an inspirational space for all types of creatives. High school sweethearts Julie and DJ Antonucci decided to marry their two passions into one shop. Julie loved fabric and DJ loved carpentry. You put that together and you get Cottonwood. This shop opened only 6 months ago, but they've already made a huge impact in their community. During our 2025 LQS contest, 660 voters wrote in to tell us how much they love Cottonwood. I keep thinking about what one customer, Jessica, said. It has a great antique vibe, but yet stays up with all the latest products. They're even expanding the shop so they can accommodate more people to get together and do their craft with the support of others in the community. This is definitely a store to check out in person. If you're not already convinced to visit, I've heard some rumors about them adding a coffee shop sometime in the future. Antiques, vintage quilts and linens, an art section and coffee? What more could you want? I love hearing about young quilt shops like Cottonwood, and I'm very excited to see what else they'll do in the future. Now let's turn our attention to a much older shop. In a country known for its bright tulip fields, Quiltwinkel Margreet Otto stands out as the center of creativity and color. Margreet Otto first opened Quiltwinkel in 1971. Over 50 years later, she still helps inspire her community with her sewing knowledge and fabric picking expertise. Her daughter Suzanne now runs the shop, although Margreet still makes a point to come in and help every day. Her excellent sense of color and design must be genetic, because Suzanne sure knows how to create beautiful displays. Between all their stunning fabrics and all this talk about the land of windmills, I'm feeling inspired to make a colorful pinwheel block. Well, then I could put it on the pocket of a 2 big totes, but then I might as well make both sets, and I guess voters weren't lying when they said Quiltwinkel Margreet Otto was inspirational. One of the beautiful things about sewing is that you get to hold on to your childlike wonder and let it fuel your creations. There will certainly be a lot of awe-inspiring projects on display in the Little Bits of Whimsy Quilt Show hosted by the Northwest Suburban Quilters Guild. This guild is one of the oldest and largest in the Chicagoland area, with nearly 150 members from Illinois and neighboring states. Many of these guild members have been working on their Little Bits of Whimsy quilts all year, so be sure to stop in and see all the talent and creativity of these quilters on full display. It's certain to be an incredible show that will leave visitors feeling like a kid in a candy shop. In addition to the quilt on display, the Northwest Suburban Quilters Guild will have a stunning raffle quilt. Last year's quilt took 6 quilters to finish and turned out absolutely gorgeous. Who knows what gorgeous creation they'll come up for this year. There'll be other items up for raffle, including a full basket of ByAnnie goods, as well as vendors, hourly door prizes, a quilt boutique, and a scrap sale. The show runs from May 17th to May 18th at Judson University. Tickets are only $8 for adults, and kids 12 and under are free. So, if you know a young sewist, this might be a great event to get their creative juices flowing. Speaking of someone who seemingly has endless creative juices, let's take a minute to talk with our very own Annie and learn how she uses creativity when picking fabrics and notions for a project.
Hi, I'm Annie, and I am excited to tell you a little bit more about this set of project bags, which we're sending off for a trunk show to our good friends at Old Country Store in Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Dean and Jan were my hosts when I went to visit there a few years ago, and such a lovely place. I told both of them, if I ever move somewhere else besides where I live now, I'm coming to live here. It's just a gorgeous spot. But this set of project bags is going to be on display in their store, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the design decisions we made as we decided how to make it. So this is a fun fabric line called Crescendo from Amanda Murphy, who designs for Benartex, and it had a whole lot of beautiful colors in it. And so the first thing that we do when we're trying to decide what to make is we pick fabrics that will be our main and lining fabrics, and then which will be our coordinates. And on this one, we really loved this dark blue with greens and whites designs in it, and the lighter green. And so what we decided to do was quilt those two together so that we could flip them back and forth. And this could be the main on these two bags, but it would be the lining on, well, this would be the main, and it would be the lining on these two bags. So the main on this bag is what's showing on the outside, I believe. I may be wrong on that. Anyway, it became the inside on two bags and the back on the other two. So that made it really easy because we didn't have to quilt a whole bunch of pieces. We could quilt just one piece and cut it for all 4 bags and have some different looks. This pattern is designed so that you've got some borders at the bottom of the 3 larger bags. The smaller one, there wasn't really room, so it's just plain. And so we did a patchwork border on 2 of the bags, and on one of them we just did a solid border. This would be a great place to add some ribbon embellishment, or if you're a machine embroiderer, to put some words right here, somebody's name if you're making it for someone in particular, or if you know that you're always going to store certain tools in here, you could put the names of those tools on there. There's so many ways that you can use these and make them special for yourself. So when we decided on the fabrics for the little patchwork borders, we just tried to alternate some lights and darks and tried different ones. And then we did a green as the coordinate on the 2 that had the blue and green mostly showing. It looks nice with both sizes. And on the ones that had the lighter interior, we did a darker blue border. So that looks great with both fabrics as well. So lots of choices that you can make as you pick your fabrics. Then we also took some time to play with zippers. And zippers are always really fun to customize for a project. And we went all out on this. So we picked zippers in most cases that contrasted with the fabrics that we put them against so that they'd show up. In this one, you can see we matched the zipper to the border at the bottom. And here we matched it to some of the flowers inside. And then on each one, we added a different color of pull just to add a little more interest to them too. So those are project bags. These are perfect for carrying your tools. Rotary cutters and scissors work perfect in the small one. You can put your patterns and smaller supplies in here. All your project pieces in the large one. These are designed, this one is designed to hold 12-inch blocks. This one will hold 16-inch blocks. So if you're making a block of the month and you want to be able to store your blocks as you proceed throughout the months of it, you've got a great place to store those. They'll stay flat and clean and you'll always know where they are. So I hope you'll enjoy making your own project bags set, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
As Annie mentioned, that model will be on display at Old Country Store in Intercourse, Pennsylvania until April 30th. We also currently have a show out at Busy Lady Quilt Shop in Mount Washington, Kentucky until April 26th. You can get a weekly update on current trunk shows by following us on social media at Patterns by Annie. As we continue on this digital shop hop, I'd like to remind you that Shop Hop Inc. is currently hosting all Pacific Northwest, Minnesota, and Kansas/Nebraska shop hops throughout April and May. For our next stop, we're heading to Montana's favorite small town, Three Forks. This town is home to the 2025 regional winner for Montana, Be Lazy Quilting and Retreat. Like all of our LQS contest winners, Be Lazy received dozens of thoughtful comments from customers, but what really stood out to me is how the employees spoke about the shop. One employee, Jade, wrote in with her favorite memory. It wasn't a special event or class. Her favorite memory was watching one specific customer go from a complete beginner to a quilting savant. It's that care that the staff provides that makes Be Lazy what it is. And it's clear that that love is felt and reciprocated by the customers. Matt and Kelly Bugland, the owners of Be Lazy, are truly treasured by their community. You simply need to hear Matt's favorite memory to see how the customers go above and beyond to support the Buglands. Matt said, "I threw a surprise birthday party for the owner in her own store. She had no idea, but couldn't figure out why everyone kept walking in the door while she wanted to leave for our dinner date." I can see why Matt holds that memory so close. The Be Lazy Quilting and Retreat community and the Buglands clearly have a really special relationship. Another store I always think of when I picture a tight-knit community is Angel Sewing in Salem, New Hampshire. I remember when I first learned about this store, I kept hearing the same thing over and over again. This shop feels like home. Owner Carol Lawrence does so much to support her community with new events like her Charm Club and annual retreats. In addition to these events, Carol is known for the individual care she gives every customer every single day. She's incredibly empathetic, celebrating customer successes, and patiently offering her knowledge when they need help. Marie summed it up perfectly. Carol and her staff are all friendly and knowledgeable. They're always smiling and so helpful. It's like going to visit your best friends in the shop. We're so lucky to have amazing shops like Angel Sewing in our LQS community. We have one more shop for you today, and it's extra special because Annie and I were able to visit in person.
Hi, I'm Annie of ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie, and I am really excited today to be at one of my local quilt shops and a favorite of mine, Scrap Apple Quilting in St. George, Utah. And I'm joined by Lynette, who is the manager of the store. This store has been here for a long time, but it's under new ownership now. Can you tell us a little bit about the history and the changes that you've been experiencing?
I'd love to. Shirley Baptist was the original owner of Scrap Apple Quilts that she opened over 20 years ago in St. George, and she had a huge following and served the community here for many, many years with a really successful quilt store. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, this past March, she became ill quite suddenly and passed away very, very quickly, which left a really big hole in all of our hearts and a lot of questions about what was going to happen. Her family did not really have an interest in them running the shop because they had other jobs. None of them live in the state, but they wanted to honor her legacy and what she meant to this city by keeping the shop open. So they asked myself and our team to keep things going while they looked for a new owner. And 10 months ago, Sewciety Quilting in Las Vegas purchased the shop and asked that I would continue managing it and stay with help them keep things going, which we were very, very happy to do. It would have been a real huge loss to not have this store here. And so we've been working with them for the last 10 months.
Right. And they have a store in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. They have a store in Alaska.
Soldotna, Alaska.
And now a store in Utah.
Correct. And our name changed because of that. We are now we are Scrap Apple Quilting, because that goes along with Sewciety Quilting and Barely Threaded Quilting in Alaska. So we all end with quilting, and that was the only change. They also wanted to keep the name because she has such a reputation and to honor her and what she had started for this community.
For sure. I remember Scrap Apple Quilting was one of the stores that was here when I first moved to town almost 30 years ago. And just such an important part of the community. We do have other quilt stores. At one time, this town had 10 quilt shops, and we now have, 4 or 5, even that, 3 or 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah. If you count like the one in Santa Clara,
Right.
and there used to be one in Hurricane, but we had quilt stores galore. And so losing that shop would have been just a huge loss to all of us, not just the local community, but all the people who come here from other places.
We are a destination place. We are people she's been here for so long that as they're traveling from California to Montana or back and forth, we have people that come, okay, I'll see you in 6 months when we come through again. It's a destination place for them to come. We have a very, very convenient exit right off of the Brigham Road exit, just a couple of minutes away. They pop off the freeway, see what's new, and then they're back on the road on their trip. Yeah.
Ready to go on. Yeah, stop and grab a bite to eat,
Yeah.
and they're ready to go. You also have a really wonderful classroom here.
We do. The classroom is available. It's across the courtyard, so it's separate from the shop. It's its own building. But we have design walls, cutting tables, ironing boards, places for people to bring their sewing machines. It has its own entrance right by a parking lot, and they're able to come in. That's where all of our classes are taught, but we also let people come in and use the classroom, small groups of people. People will come for 3 or 4 days and do a retreat over there so that they can all be together. There's a hotel right next door, there's eating places around, and so it's really convenient to be able to have a place to be able to come and sew with your friends as well.
No kidding. And when you need something, you just walk across the courtyard and buy the fabric you need, or the thread you need, or the buttons, or the zippers, or the ByAnnie patterns, any of those
whatever
things.
you forgot to bring with you. We try to have that here as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, having that hotel next door is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed hearing more about the history and everything new that's happening, and I wish you all much success.
We hope people stop by and see us. We've tried to carry on Shirley's tradition with some of the fabric types that we carry. We've also got lots of new, fun and modern and exciting things that are always happening here.
Yeah. I remember Shirley really had a lot of batiks, a lot of reproduction fabrics.
Aunt Gracie's.
Aunt Gracie's,
so
yes, for sure.
We've kept those because people know that we're going to have those, but in addition, we've brought in a lot of new types of things as well. We've got new designers that we hadn't carried before, new companies. She hadn't done a lot with Riley Blake, for example. We've got a lot of Riley Blake, but all the standard ones, Moda, Timeless, Henry Glass. We try to carry something from everybody, a lot of Free Spirit, just the good mainstay companies.
That's wonderful. That's great. Well, thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Like Annie said, thank you to all of you watching at home, and a big thank you to Lynette and Stacy for taking time out of their very busy schedules to talk with us. If you enjoyed hearing about any of the local quilt shops mentioned, please check out our blogs at lqscontest.com, where we have full blogs on each of these stores. Also, if you love LQS content as much as we do, make sure you are following us on social media at Patterns by Annie or at LQS Contest. In just a couple of weeks, we will be at H&H Americas, where we will be posting lots of behind-the-scenes content. This is truly one of our favorite places to connect with local quilt shops, and we're just so excited to see everyone. Leave a like to let us know you want more of this new series, and until next time, happy stitching!